Let's shift the focus to multiplex companies. There are talks of strong revenues on the back of 18 big releases, which is why the first quarter for most of these companies is expected to be very strong. So good time then to bring on board Nitin Sood, the CFO of PVR, who joins us from New Delhi on the phone line. Mr. Sood, given that there are strong talks of these multiplex players getting a boost in their revenues in the first quarter on 18 big films that are set to release, do you think that would mean that in the first quarter you will turn cash flow positive?
We are always been cash flow positive, but I think the flow of films is fairly good this year, and we expect that I think the overall numbers will look fairly better in comparison to what we saw last year. I think the IPL charm has also kind of gone down, and we are seeing more and more people coming back to cinemas. So we are running at fairly healthy occupancies from a Q1 perspective, and I think that should show above during the balance part of the year as well.
Sure. And, given that the content flow also has been fairly strong, if you could just highlight for us how the recent slew of releases are going to boost your occupancies and your ticket collections.
Yeah, so I think Q1, the list of films releasing in Q1 is quite strong. We have about 3 to 4 big films releasing almost every week, but I think on a big film basis, there are about 10 poles which are releasing almost every alternate week. We've seen a good April. Houseful 2 is doing fairly well. We had a small film called Vicky Donor which released this Friday, and the results have been surprising. More and more people are coming back even on weekdays to watch good content based on good critics' review. And we see that trend following in May and June, where we have fairly big films from various banners, from Eros, from UTV, coming onto the floor. So we overall expect, I think, Q1 to be substantially better than what we saw in Q1 of last year.
Nitin, we are in the midst of the IPL season. So are you seeing occupancies in your theatres having dropped because of IPL?
Not really. In fact, to the contrary, occupancies have been fairly good. Our average occupancies currently are upwards of 30% for a month like April, which is traditionally a slow month. And we are seeing this trend continuing even in May and June. So overall occupancy percentages have been fairly healthy as compared to what you see in this part of the year.
So are you saying that this year in the IPL season, occupancy levels at theatres are looking a lot different than they did last year or maybe even in earlier years?
Yes, absolutely. And occupancy levels are looking substantially better this year as compared to what we've seen in the last few years.
And finally, the union budget this year exempted some of the movie screens from service tax. How much relief is that going to bring to you?
Yeah, so I think it's a significant play for all the multiplex companies. It's not that we were being charged a service tax, but there was a proposal which was floating around in the government where they wanted to bring the ticket price of admissions also subject to service tax. And we had made several representations to the government saying that you're already charging a hefty amount of entertainment tax, which varies from 20 to 60% at various states level. So in addition to that, if you levy service tax, it will be really challenging for the industry to survive. I think the government has considered our view and kind of given that relief in the current budget. So there will be no immediate relief, but the way we see it evolving is as and when GST comes into play, I think entertainment tax will get subsumed in that, and that will be overall a very good positive for the entire industry.
Nitin Sood, thanks very much for taking the time out. That's fairly positive management commentary, saying that IPL is not going to be a concern, going to see a healthy uptick in occupancies. The stock, though, a tad quiet as we speak, 0.2% higher.